Do you want to hold something that's all value, that has the broadest base of buyers on a global basis? Doesn't need a government to say this is money. And it's why central banks have been accumulating it. I think that we're more than between a rock and a hard place. We are in a position that is untenable. They have to raise rates in order to be able to lower them again. That's why they have to raise rates and to maintain their credibility. One of the things that I always love is how they never, ever, ever accept responsibility for the manipulations and then the subsequent unintended consequences that come from that. But they say our evidence points to abnormal U.S. housing market behavior for the first time, oh my God, since the boom of the early 2000s, which they created as well. People cannot afford the rent. And World Economic Forum, you will own nothing and be happy and have the experience. Well, if you don't own your home, even if you have a mortgage, as long as it's a fixed rate mortgage, you know what those mortgage payments are going to be every month, month after month. But when you're renting, yeah, that's a different deal. And guess what? If you own nothing, well, that means you're renting everything. That doesn't work very well. The U.S. is not alone in experiencing this housing market. This is such new news, isn't it? What are they talking about? A bubble. You can tell. It annoys me so much when they come out way after the fact and they go, oops, we might have a little bubble here. There is now a credit card, and if you don't make a payment, you miss a payment, well, that's okay. They'll just pull it from your home equity. Good. Now, for those that do actually own their own home, they can use the equity in it. Of course, it has to be high like we've just seen. What happens if this bubble bursts and the equity evaporates? Oh, that couldn't. Could it? Could that happen? But remember, we're told you will own nothing and be happy. But you will be ruled by those that own everything. Because wealth never disappears. It merely shifts location. That, my friends, is the importance of gold, of having sound money that holds its purchasing power value. Because this, most likely, obviously, I do have some crystal balls, but they don't really tell me very much. However, as this housing market bursts, this bubble bursts, or real estate, not just housing, real estate, you want to be in a position to take advantage of it like the wealthy have. People want to think that this can go on forever, but it can't. A tree does not grow through the sky. Everything that goes up must come down. And now, even some sellers are lowering their asking prices. Not a lot yet, because people don't want to believe that this game is over. But they're going to know it pretty quick. About 12% of homes for sale had a price drop during the 4 weeks ending April 3rd. That's up from 9% a year ago. So more price drops. You know what's going on. It's all about educated choices. And I want to show you, because in China, just this big, huge boom, then boom, the government clamped down on mortgages and on real estate because they wanted to try and control what was happening. And what they did was they created this huge slump And I'd like to point out easing measures, so now they've done an about face, but easing measures have failed to arrest a decline in sales. I mean, do they think that we are just these puppets and they go boop and you're going to move this way and boop, you're going to move the other way? Because that works for a while. It's called perception management. But at some point, it doesn't work anymore. And we are at that point. I believe that we are at the point where it simply isn't going to work anymore. And policy errors are hard to reverse when they're this big. And as you know, is the Fed making policy errors? Many believe so, and I'm one of them. Are we headed for a recession? Well, worse. Look, this next piece has got to be a hyperinflationary depression, because they have no more tools, and the new currency that they want to take us into is still going to be based upon debt. So they have to burn all of this debt off. They have to. There's really no choice about it. Fed officials to take cleaver to balance sheet. Many back big rate hikes. Can they do it? No, they can't. Do they have to do it? Yes, they do. Do you see the circumstance? All this time I've been saying they're between a rock and a hard place. Rents are exploding at a pace faster than income. Shocker! The problem is now as bad as it has ever been, and probably much worse. Yeah, you think? So if you're one of those people that have been buying real estate for income, it kind of depends on what you paid for it and when you bought it. The fear of missing out. How far can the real estate market drop? I don't know. I can tell you in Japan that it dropped, residential dropped 85% and commercial dropped 95%, and it still hasn't recovered from it, and that was back in the 90s. How low can it go? I don't know. But you better, if you're holding it, you better make sure that you have the ability to boom, pay off that mortgage, because it does make it a lot easier to service and maintain your real estate. So you got to have gold in order to do that, because that's the only undervalued asset. The only one, gold and silver, physical. And you need to make sure that you can always pay those property taxes, the insurance, all of that. And that's also where gold comes in. These are the things, these are the dangers of owning real estate.